I went on America's greatest road trip, 30 states in 30 days.
Dude, Sacramento is just a cute little town, man.
Starting our trip in Los Angeles, California, we made our way up to the first big piss stop.
Dude, they have a little map of the map. Dude, it's like the White House, but it's not.
What I loved about the city was that it felt big, but was kind of small. I think part of that was the population of 600,000 people, which isn't small. None of them were walking on the streets. Walking up to the Capitol, I had this cute little park that was supposed to lead up to the entrance, but it wasn't the entrance. The entrance was just on some dinky side house. The walk to the dinky side house really upset my bladder. That's -2 piss points for Sacramento, California. The inside of the building was a building. The flooring reminded me of See's Candy, but sadly, the only treat here was the bathroom. The dome ceiling was elegant, and the carpeting was welcoming. The council room was green, which is oddly charming. With all this to account for, I went to the bathroom and took my piss. To be honest, it was a pretty plain piss. That's a B tier for Sacramento, California. Up next, my pants. That's because Oregon State Capitol was closed at 1 a.m. Or the state capitol, I should say. What state capitol closes at 1 a.m.? That's ridiculous. So with that in mind, we went to the real state capitol, Ground Control. This capitol was filled with all the classic arcade games, along with all the pinball machines in the world. Unfortunately, we got kicked out at 5 p.m. for not being old enough to clap DK's cheeks in the original Donkey Kong. So with that, this state capitol sucks. F tier. Finishing our drive through Oregon, including Gravity Falls, we made it to Olympia, Washington, the state capitol. The outside of the capitol felt very natural, as it was just in a neighborhood. The entrance was very sleek, and the marble design was an exquisite choice. It was a very open space, it was very empty, and it wasn't that big. Now everything I just said contributes positively to where Washington places on the piss tier list. My piss, pretty quick and pretty painless. If it was painful, we would be having some issues now. With all that being said, A tier. Pretty good capital. Next stop, Montana. Wait, nope, we forgot about Idaho. We did technically drive through Idaho after all. So Boiling, Idaho was just a little too far, so we went to Idaho's true state capital, Walmart. The bathroom here was clogged. Honestly, probably more of a sight to see than the state capitol itself. That's a C tier right there for clogged. Now we go to Montana, which was the worst part of the drive. We spent 20 hours driving through Montana and missed the state capitol because we thought it would be funnier to go to the city of Butt than Helena. Fortunately, we found another replacement for the capital. This sign. It was dog shit. It was total shit. Just like the rest of Montana. We're not even gonna put this on the list. Montana was way too upsetting for me. On the way to South Dakota, we touched Wyoming's tip. Unfortunately, Cheyenne, Wyoming was just a little too far from where we were. So yet again, we had to find another replacement for the capital. Honestly though, I think we found the coolest replacement. Devil's Tower. It was just a big ass rock. Now I couldn't pee on it, unfortunately, but it was still the coolest thing on this road trip. That's an S tier right there. Funny how the first S tier is a thing that isn't even the capital. Back on the road, we headed over to Pierre, South Dakota. Luckily, there's always parking spaces available because no one really cares about visiting capitals. Unless you're me, of course. But that's only because I love everything the state capitol has to offer, like their bathrooms. The outside of the capitol was very beautiful. It was just a small, quaint little town with too many bugs. So with that, let's go inside. The floors and the walls were glossy and sleek. The layout, easy to understand, and there's multiple floors. There were some cool statues, along with a secret passage and a couple of different rooms. Of course, it was now time to take care of some business. After closing my eyes and taking the piss, I visualized everything I just witnessed. And with that, my piss became a golden shower. It was a really cool capital. The location, the outside scenery, the inside design, that's an A tier right there. It would have been S tier, but it didn't have my favorite part of the Capitol, and that's going inside and looking up at the beautiful dome they have to offer. Along these next parts of the drive, we hit more states, but no capitals in sight. We drove through Nebraska and went to the smallest city in America, if you can even call it a city. This is the city of Manawi. Manawi used to have 6 people living there, but now it's only 1. Her name is Elsie Eliar? I hope I pronounced that right. She is the mayor of the city. She also runs the local tavern at age 91. It was such a cute little place, and she was super sweet. Unfortunately, we were too late to get some burgers, and for that, I have to knock it down from S tier to F tier. I'm still hungry. Next up, we have Iowa. And just like Nebraska, the capital was a little too far. So we went to the next best place, the ice cream capital of the world. The ice cream was phenomenal, and the upstairs was just the cutest. I mean, look at all these decorations. Not only that, but I got to milk a cow with a button. For some reason, you'd think that the ice cream capital of the world would be bigger, but they did let me milk a cow after all, so I'll give it B tier. Once we got back on the road, our next destination was St. Paul, Minnesota. By this point in the trip, I should probably mention that the hours that the state capitals were open was a little ridiculous. They normally opened around 8 or 9 in the morning, and they closed at 5. Let me tell you why this is an issue. We only planned to be out for about 30 days, which meant that we were basically driving a state per day. Unfortunately, the distance from one state capital to another is always so hard to time because on the drive we're trying to do other stuff and do everything we planned, and getting there by 5 is just unrealistic. With all this being said, we barely made it to the state capital. And when we say we, I mean me. I jumped out of the car to make it to the state capital. It was 4:57 and they closed at 5. I quickly ran inside and looked around. First of all, looking up into the dome, it was so marvelous I almost pissed myself on the spot. Luckily, I was able to hold it in. The walls had such beautiful decorations. The stairs were grand, the pillars were massive, almost as massive as they even had a lion bench. After taking it all in, I went into the bathroom and I felt it. This was the most magical piss I've ever felt. This is when I felt myself transcend from a piss man to the piss king. This is an S tier capital. Whew. The first part of the road trip was coming to an end, and the last state capital we planned on seeing before resting for a week was Madison, Wisconsin. First of all, Madison as a city was probably the most gorgeous place I've ever been. People were just rollerblading around, there was a big lake for people to go on, and the city was just so charming. The only gripe I have with this state capital is that we have to pay for parking. I'm sure that won't be an issue in the future. After walking through the city to the state capital, we ventured into the capital, and we were greeted by a statue with boobs. S tier, S tier, S. Oh, sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. Now the capital was rather small, along with it being packed with too many people. Look, I'm a shy pisser. That's not going to be good for me. The inside dome was very beautiful, but it wasn't as jaw-dropping as St. Paul. Although the dome wasn't as jaw-dropping as St. Paul, the main room definitely was. Now the hallways did feel a little cramped and tight, and I just don't like people. I would say I enjoyed my piss, but I'm more of a people pleaser, not a people pisser. I eventually just gave up and decided to hold it in, waiting for the next capital, which would be exactly in 1 week from now. Knowing that I have to hold in my piss for the next week, I thought St. Paul set me up to be the piss king, but no. This was just the beginning. Madison, Wisconsin transcended me from piss king to piss god. And right there and then, I knew I was the ruler of all piss. It's still an A tier capital though. It wasn't S tier, you know, the dome wasn't that cool and I have to hold in my piss. I created lightness and darkness.
I went on America's greatest road trip.
I created the land you stand on in every single toilet you take a dump in.
Skyline Chili. Columbus, baby.
And on the 7th day, I left Illinois to go to Indiana State Capitol building and piss in their toilet. Today is the day Piss God, that's me, got in the car and headed out to Indiana State Capitol building. First impressions, Indiana? Kind of a dump, and I love it. You know, it's like a charming dump. Anyway, when driving up to the state capitol building, wow, it was just so ugly. And although it was under construction, I don't think any amount of construction can fix how ugly this state capitol building looked. Alright, I'll give it to you, Indiana. These statues do look nice, but you know what would be even nicer? A damn door. We circled this capitol twice, looking just for an entrance to get in. Now, after finding a door and entering the building, it felt like we just entered the back rooms. I'm not even sure if this is the Capitol building or a fake Capitol building, like in Megamind, where you have Metro Man go into the, the little fake dome area and then he gets obliterated by the sun. Now, all this being said, Indiana State Capitol building or the back rooms or the fake place, I loved it. I mean, it made it the most memorable Capitol of this entire trip. So far, every other capital we've been to has been like fluffed up, They got like the paintings on the walls and this place was destroyed. I mean, it was ruins basically. And it was the best part. Therefore, it has to be an S tier. I mean, it's the only one I really mention to people when I talk about their road trip. And before you ask, I didn't even make it to a bathroom. I pissed myself before I even made it to the bathroom, which made the experience that much better. I mean, piss in the pants, like, sure. For the next part of this road trip, we broke into Canada. Sorry, we snuck into Canada. What the hell? We legally crossed the border into Canada. I'll save everything we did in here for the major road trip video. To be fair, Canada is less than America, let's be honest. Like, America's on top, you know? Like, but no, we did some really fun stuff in Canada, you know? We went to their state capital, which was AMW. I mean, that's the reason why I go to Canada. Why do you go to Canada? Anyways, sorry, I'm so sorry, Canadians. I apologize. After passing Niagara Falls in Canada, we used the bridge that connected New York and Canada to get over back from Canada into New York. So we just traversed all of New York and we hit Pennsylvania. The outside of the capital was honestly really nice looking. The town itself was also just kind of cute, as I describe every town that we've been to so far. Small, packed to all hell. We are on the East Coast after all. The walk up to the Capitol was really nice, and statues of naked people. The inside of the Capitol was also just as perfect as the outside. Security letting us in was super kind, the tile flooring was glossy and sleek, the hallways were spacious, they even had elevators. Well, they had elevator, because they only had one. Another really nice touch that they had was this golden faucet that produced a golden shower for you to drink if you got hungry. Just some other really cool things to point out in this capital. They had a countdown of when the world was gonna blow up, and another counter to calculate how much money we spent on toilets in America. They also had like this little food court. It kind of felt like a college campus. I originally thought it was an A-tier capital, and then I looked back at it, and I was like, wait, this is an S-tier capital. But then I'm rethinking right now, well, hold on. S-tier capitals are only for the best of the best. It was a great capital, but it wasn't like piss god tier. Like when I took a piss in the bathroom, I didn't ascend to heaven, you know? I didn't feel myself. So it's an A tier. After hitting Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, we continued our drive and hit Annapolis, Maryland. Now, I just want to say, somewhere along in my life, I would love to just live here for a little bit. Just like every other town I describe, yes, I know, it's a cute little town. I mean, like, look at this place. It's like little shops and like little concrete. Sorry, I just had to smack the beta out of me. Time to piss in the state capital. That's what we're here for. We're not here for this cute town. We're here to piss in the capital, which didn't happen. Because the state capital was under construction like every other single capital that we've been to already. It was also past 5 p.m., so technically our fault because they were kind of open. But they were still under construction, so I'm gonna blame it on them and not us. You know what? Maybe they weren't doing construction. Maybe they were doing some deconstruction. Because I'm so over these capitals thinking they're so important. Put a damn Croc store in its place already. Next up, not just any state capital. This is the capital, Washington, D.C. Now, I have been here before, but that was during the day. This time we went at night, and it felt like a completely different place. The reason why this was is because there was a lack of people, as in there was like basically no one, and that was the biggest benefit to going at night. So now that we made it here, we had 3 main attractions. We had the Washington Monument, which I guess is tall, it's like 400 feet or something. We had the Lincoln Memorial, and then we had the White House itself. Now, starting with the Washington Monument, you had to pay to go in, and I think they have like this elevator, and it's kind of cool, but we're not paying. But it was cool to see, you know, it's like a big, tall, 400 tower foot. At night, it was cool because they actually lit it up with like lights. And then a mile away from it, we took a walk and we made it to the Lincoln Memorial. And this one was cool because you don't have to pay to go in. We also saw all the other stuff in between, like the fountain and all the names and all the states. But lastly, the White House. Now, I have to apologize. I couldn't get any footage inside because I did have a meeting with President Beau Biden. But when I went back outside, I remember to take out my camera and record the White House. This thing was beautiful. It was so patriotic. Red, white, and blue. That's my America. Hell yeah! So, where does that leave Washington, D.C.? Well, of course it's S tier. What are you thinking? I mean, Lincoln, let me piss on him. After the amazing Washington, D.C., we did downgrade to Richmond, Virginia. I'm telling you, right off the bat, I did not have good feelings about this place. It was just ugly. That was it. It was just ugly, and I don't like ugly things. The little scenery around the Capitol was cute, but it was so misleading because you have like the big building right here, and the entrance was like underground. You had to go like 5 miles away or some crap. It was stupid. It took forever to find this because like it was just hidden. It was more annoying than Indiana, but I don't want to talk about it anymore because it's gonna make me upset. We did go through security without any issues, and think about like a 2D Mario level design where it's just linear. That's basically what this capital was, because so far every capital has been like a 3D Mario. It's been like a Mario Galaxy, a Mario Odyssey, where you kind of just go wherever you want, see all the cool stuff. This one was very just straightforward. The bathroom, I don't even remember it. The Capitol was alright. The entrance was annoying. I didn't like the city. So that's a B tier Capitol. After Richmond, Virginia, we went all the way to Virginia Beach, which was like our end point of this road trip. It was like the complete opposite side of where we started. So that was really cool. Took a picture and left for North Carolina. This Capitol has a bit of a backstory. Essentially, back in 5th grade, I had to do an entire project on a state capital. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna choose North Carolina, because no one knows what this is. So I did Raleigh, North Carolina, and I did some research on it. So this entire time, ever since 5th grade, I've had this really cool image of Raleigh. Like, oh, North Carolina is the bomb. Raleigh is gonna crush every other competitor in the competition. This is Raleigh, North Carolina. Very disappointing, and I hated it. I mean, look at this Capitol. It's ugly from a distance, it's ugly up close, and the doors were locked. You know what I did? I pissed right on that Capitol. Trash. F tier. Worst Capitol. I just can't take any more disappointment. I mean, we've already missed so many Capitols so far, and to some of the ones that we've been to, they've been like trash. After driving through the night past South Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama, we hit Nashville, Tennessee. And I gotta say, for being a party city, during the day, it's kind of a cute little city. And I know I use the word cute for every city that I think is cute. But what else am I supposed to say? It's the only word of my day. This is way better than Vegas. Vegas during the day, don't even get me started. We went to the Capitol, and right off the bat, security was just uptight. I mean, I tried bringing a bomb. Overall, this Capitol was the definition of mid. It was still a nice Capitol. It just felt pretty empty, you know? Like, every Capitol has its flair. This place is just like nothing. It has no soul. The bathroom, it had a toilet. It got my piss. It was fine. I didn't feel anything. I felt soulless. This is a B tier Capitol. Now, earlier this video, I did mention missing Ohio State Capitol and then going back to it. We went back, but we got there at 5:30. So what was really cool about this Capitol itself was that there was a no sales tax weekend. That was the one time we went and there was no sales tax. So we got like postcards and other stuff. We didn't get charged tax. The reason why we actually missed the Capitol in the first place was because we stopped by Kentucky State Capitol in Frankfort. And this Capitol was lit. Actual free parking and a place to give my I have a piss speech. The rest of the inside of this building was genuinely cool, and I don't know how to describe it, so I'm just gonna show it. This Capitol definitely was like a B/A tier Capitol. Like, it wasn't memorable, but it was really cool. Kentucky was one of my favorite states that we went to on this road trip. State Capitol building, you are lucky because you get an A tier on this piss tier list. And after that was our road trip, making our way from Illinois up through the border of Canada, back into America, coming all the way down, going to Virginia Beach, making our way to Tennessee, past Dump, Carolina, back up to the Kentucky and Ohio, and back to Illinois. And this is where we're gonna rest again, and then we will set out to do the rest of the pissing. With that being said, I hope that in the future, when I come back to these state capitals, they are done with their construction, and they're done and finished with my bathroom, my special toilet, my golden toilet that says Mick Mayer, quotation marks, piss God, right above. And if not, I will mark my territory. I will piss all over the capitals. More specifically, North Carolina, Raleigh. I'm talking to you. You have exactly 60 days to complete the toilet with my name on it. And if you don't, I will make a dumping on every state capital video, and I will start with you, and I will end with you. And it will only be you. I will only take a dump on you every day, over and over and over. So you better watch yourself, and you better get your shit together. Because if you don't, I'm gonna shit on you. So far, these are the capitals we've pissed in. Whoa, I can't control it. Oh my god, this is it. I'm the piss king! Guys, I think I'm running out of piss. But now, the journey has to come to an end. It's time to release all the piss. So our first stop is Springfield, Illinois. Springfield, Illinois was such a cool capital. I mean, like, before even going to the Capitol building, they had like this outside festival and garden with like this Route 66 thing, and that's all I remember. But the city, very scenic. But the actual building itself, ooh, it looked good from the outside. It wasn't like Missouri, Jefferson City, Missouri. But first impressions, going up to the Capitol, they had this really cool like coin door, and bam, you get this nice like mansion feeling, like if you go to a hotel, and you kind of see like all the rooms circle the middle. Decorations were definitely on point. I mean, the stairs were super grand looking. The pictures were awesome and big and ginormous. The gold plating, ooh, it was beautiful. But of course, the biggest plus of all, looking up into that beautiful dome. But best of all, Lincoln personally came into the bathroom when I was taking a piss and slapped my ass. Now that's, let's go. That was a huge highlight of the trip. Still an A-tier capital though. I mean, like, I was kind of hoping that like he would greet me in the bathroom, but he didn't do that. It was his afterthought per se. Nonetheless, he did slap my ass, and that was really cool. So I'm glad he did that. This is Jefferson City, Missouri. This is Illinois. This is Jefferson City, Missouri. It was the most grand entrance of a capital for no reason. I think that this capital only had like 30,000 people living here. It was so good. The entrance was super cool, obviously. We got to take some really good pictures. And then we entered the Capitol. And I'm telling you, this Capitol was like the most memorable Capitol. This place was a glorified White House. This Capitol itself is just really good. The paintings were on point. The location was on point. It felt like they actually wanted visitors with the way they had things lined up, with the way they were having construction. It felt natural. All these capitals are under construction because they're waiting for my arrival of the golden toilet. Again, it sucks that they're a little late on my package, but I will be back because this capital, S-tier capital. I mean, it was a really fun capital to visit because this is actually a capital that we did think we would hit. And then we checked Google Maps and it was on the way. So we're like, sure, might as well. It'll still be like 4 o'clock by the time we get there. So they'll let us in. After leaving on a high from Jefferson City, Missouri, we were on our way to Topeka, Kansas, and we missed it. I mean, we didn't really expect to hit this capital, I'm not gonna lie, but it's still a really cool capital from the outside. I mean, Kansas is like meh, and the capital is more like meh meh. But, you know, for Kansas, that's pretty good. You know, it's 2 mehs in a row. When I think of capitals though, funny enough, the 3 capitals I think of is Indianapolis, Indiana, Jefferson City, Missouri, and Topeka, Kansas. We didn't even go inside, but like this picture right here to me is like the definition of like we missed it and that's it. You know, like it's just us standing in front of a Capitol that's lit up and then we just leave. Like that's all we did there. Like we stopped by, took a picture and left. But like I still remember that picture because like the Capitol does look kind of cool in the background. I'm not gonna lie, it does look pretty cool. So honestly, Topeka, Kansas, for being more memorable than most other capitals, I gotta give it an A tier. You know, like look, I did take a piss too. I did take a piss on the Capitol, which made it that much more fun. But, you know, it just was better than everything else. Like North Carolina, Raleigh, I hate you. Anyways, we gotta move on to, unfortunately, what is going to be the last capital of the video. We kind of just drove by Utah, Nevada. We spent 20 minutes in Arizona just to get to California. If that paints a picture of what these states were kind of meant to be. They were just drive-by states. But we did have one more stop. And that final stop was Denver, Colorado. I know this city gets a lot of praise. I just think it's a little overrated, guys. Now, to give it credit, if you look in like a 200-mile radius, there's not really any other big cities. I mean, like, think about the states around Colorado. You got like New Mexico. Is that even real? You got Kansas. And then the state above it, I couldn't tell you what that even is. I don't think anyone could tell you if you gave them a map and they looked at it. So that being said, Denver, Colorado, they had to make a city big in the Midwest, and they made it Denver, Colorado. So that's kind of cool, I guess. We entered the city. There's houses, there's people, and there was a Capitol. Capitol's all right. Yeah. We parked for free, of course. By this point, I was done. You know, like what more could I give? You know, I already released a piss tank on the entire trip. So we're going to the Capitol, and so far the most memorable part about Denver, Colorado was the squirrels, bro. They are so damn goofy. Like what is a squirrel? The entrance was like, it was rather clear, but it upset me because we parked on the opposite side, so we had to walk all the way around. So that's gonna lose some Denver points right there. We went to the Capitol, and honestly, looking back at the footage, the Capitol is a lot better than I remember it being. Here's the catch. A Capitol building is only as good as its capital. And if I don't even want to be in Denver, Colorado, why would I want to be in the Capitol building when I could be anywhere else? I could be playing miniature golf right now in Denver, Colorado. So I took a piss. You know, it passed the bar. It did what it was supposed to do. It released me. So overall, like Denver, Colorado as a Capitol building itself, it was just a B tier. You know, again, decorations were really cool, but we've seen this all before. But we're not done yet. Because if you fast forward 6 months, it was winter. And we so happened to drive by Des Moines, Iowa. Now, it was 8 o'clock at night, so there's nothing inside. But the Capitol building itself, holy crap, this thing is beautiful. It was so cool. Like, just seeing it from the outside, I kind of wished it was open, right? I mean, I look good, the Capitol looks so-so. I think right now, I'm gonna give it an A tier. Better than Denver, Colorado. It looked really cool. I do want to come back and visit. And I will go back and visit more capitals and the ones that I missed, like Helena, Montana, Boise, Idaho, Lansing, Michigan. And the last little teaser I'll give you is we hit the Ford Museum and we hit Indianapolis. But in Indiana, we had a replacement capital ready. I'm gonna put up pictures of what it is. Yeah, no, it's Uranus. And I'll give a more in-depth tour of Uranus in a bigger video because Uranus is massive. Just be ready for that because I will piss in Uranus. Wow, there's just no good way of saying that. And now, that was the Piss Capital journey. 30 states, 30 days, planned to hit 24 capitals, we missed 5, rounded out to be 19 capitals. I think we missed Ohio, we missed North Carolina, Oregon, and like Helena, Montana. I mean, that's all the ones I can really remember. If I don't remember, it's probably not important. With that being said, very fun road trip, would absolutely do it again. Just, I need like 10 years of cool down time because that was a lot of driving. Otherwise, that was it. We pissed everywhere. We covered the US in piss. But I don't really know what to do now. Like, what do I do with my life? I guess I gotta find something new to piss on or in. Cause that's right, I pissed in every single fast food chain, every single monument, historical landmark. I pissed everywhere in the US. So you better watch out for that video because I'm gonna piss more.